Hey guys, what's up? It's been a while. It's me, Christine. I'm here with... Oh, I used to look there, but... Uh... Okay.
Okay, I think this is the right sort of angle. Alright. Hi guys, what's up? It's me, Chrissy, and I'm back with a 2-month late, it's almost been 3 months, but I don't really mind at this point, wrap up from June and July. So my reading habits have kind of changed, as you may or may not have noticed, like sounds. I haven't really been reading as much. I don't do monthly wrap-ups. I'm just doing it every 2 to 3 months. So I try to do it. This is the only time I have to sort of really gather my thoughts about this stuff, which also kind of sucks because some of the things that I want to talk about I kind of forgot. But I mean, still. Yeah, anyway, without getting more rambly, I read a couple, maybe about 2 books in June, a few comics, and a couple magazines. I recently incorporated magazines into my reading because though they may not be novels or short story or like I guess short stories or collections, it's still reading, and I mean, it's actually kind of helped me kind of get back into the swing of things where I don't feel I have to commit 100% to like a 300-page novel or something, because sometimes you just can't commit like that because you just don't feel it. So anyway, without further ado, I finished, this is actually borrowed from a friend, The Strange Library by Haruki Murakami. I really like how it actually opens up like this, and I finished this in under 30 minutes. It wasn't even that hard to read, and it was okay. Yeah, it was okay. I read 1984 by George Orwell. This was very good in kind of helping me sort of shape how I was invited to an art exhibit, and so it sort of helped me shape the thing that I was gonna create for the show. So but not, we won't talk about that. What I liked about this book though was that it was spot on in the way that it talks about us being monitored all the time, because we kind of are, and we do it to ourselves too, like with our cameras and stuff. Everything we do is recorded, so you know. But what he was wrong about was the fact it was going to be television, because I don't think he saw or he foresaw cell phones. I mean, who foresaw cell phones? But I feel like this has aged well and also not well, so I think it's something funny or interesting to come back to every couple years to see how much this sort of shaped and at the same time didn't quite match up to our current reality, sort of, but at the same time it does. I had more thoughts, but I was too sort of preoccupied with the exhibit for me to really delve into that. But we can always discuss on Instagram if you like. So after that, I got into... wait. This is what took me a long time actually. How to Write by Communicating Ideas and Information by Herbert E. Mayer and Jill M. Mayer. This is actually very old. Like, it talks about the advent of computers and how they can, how it helps. I mean, like, they use, well, you can really, it's very dated. Let me just say that, because they used computers coming into the workplace or schools as sort of like an example, and I'm like, when was this published? I'm like, it was the late 80s. But they did have some points when it comes to writing, like how to make a first draft, the information gathering, stuff like that, because I've been talking to artists at exhibits, and I want to know how to write an essay or article properly without without making at least too many mistakes. So I kind of needed a guide, but this took me a while to read, and after that I just like sped through so many other reading materials. I won't really call this a magazine, but it feels like a magazine, but it's called the Smith Journal. It's actually from Australia. This is the best thing about this is it comes with like maps or like little posters inside, and you know how sometimes some articles drag on longer than they need to be? It already feels like you're reading a book, but this one doesn't, because it feels like you're reading just the right amount and then it stops where it needs to stop, it begins where it needs to begin. It just needs to tell you the info that you need to know, and then you're done. Like, that's how much I really like the Smith Journal. And then Believer magazine, which is kind of notorious for what I just talked about, how when they make when they write a piece about a subject and it's practically a novel, but it's very informative, and there's also comics. So actually some of the comics here aren't exactly oh wait, here, this is pretty good. So yeah, Believer magazine. And then like they get writers like Colin Meloy, who did the Wildwood Chronicle, the Wildwood series, to like guest write or like to respond to questions. So it's really nice because it's like getting to know authors without having to really look up articles or interviews, and like it's right here. It's nice to hold in your hand. What's his name? Lemony Snicket. That's not his real name, but Lemony Snicket also contributes sometimes to this magazine, and it's really fun to read. I read Goop. So it's mostly photography. Wait, let me look for something that's kind of G. Here we go. Mostly photography, art. I mean, I was actually surprised it was mostly pictures, but still, it was nice to like flip through and feel like I'm getting through something. And I found this. I'm not sure if I hauled this, but it's a graphic novel called Belushi on a Mission from God by Alberto Chavone and Mateo Manera. So this is basically about Steve Belushi. John Belushi, sorry. I'm so sorry. Right? I read this and I don't even like, who's this about? Okay, so John Belushi, this is basically his life in a series of, in a graphic novel form. It's very short, you can finish it really quickly. But it was interesting the kind of impact he had like on comedy. I didn't know that. So, yeah. And then last for June, I read the Grayson comics. I think this is the start of the new 52 before he joined Spiral. Is that a spoiler? Oh well, whatever. So this is him before Spiral. This is also another one before Spiral, and then one, and then this one is basically Batman versus the Joker. And I read this, but it's hard because the title isn't really here. But yeah, this one was pretty fun to read. And then for July, so basically wraps up my June. I like hyped up the reading just towards the end. For July, I finished Adulting: How to Become a Grown-Up in 468 Easy-ish Steps. So with this, I was able to learn a couple things I didn't know, like what to do about the car and certain like, you know, like taxes and things like that. It's good to know. I mean, some of this stuff is really kind of like common sense, but at the same time, it's stuff that we shouldn't be afraid to address as adults, or like something adults didn't talk about and they just kind of let you wander through it. But at least she's kind of gone through it, so she's trying to tell you about it. And there's also cute drawings in here that can make it kind of fun with her examples. So yeah. And then I finished The Facts in the Case of the Departure of Miss Finch by Neil Gaiman, Michael Zulli, and Todd Klein. This is a graphic novel. I think this takes part in is sort of a spin-off from one of his series. Is it The Sandman? I'm not sure, but it was very interesting, very good. And that's what I'm gonna say, because you know it's Neil Gaiman. And then I finished with the Grayson New 52, the second one, the third one, and so on, up until the 11th. I know there's more, but I don't have that, and these are actually loaned to me from a friend who is sort of my comic book guru guy, because he knows I like reading DC comics and stuff, so he lent me these. So yeah, that's it. That's everything I read in June and July. Sorry if this is a bit of a mess. It's been a while. What's up? So yeah, thank you guys for watching. Thank you for sticking around, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.